Come closer, Prabhu. Come sit here. Yeah. Too far away. What's your name? Yoganathan. The Lord of Yoga. Who is that? The Lord of Yoga is who? Rama. Krishna, yes. Supreme Lord Krishna. Oh. Yoganathan, thank you. Hare Krishna. Thanks. Should we sing? Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Giribardhari Jaya Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Giribardhari Jaya Giribardhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Shri Shri Radha Radhanath ki Shri Shri Radha Madhava ki Shri Shri Radha Damodar ki Shri Shri Nitai Gaura Hari ki Harinam Sankirtan ki Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. So thank you very much for the opportunity to speak on this most auspicious day of Diwali, and we'd like to wish everybody, those who are watching online, all the best for this homecoming of Sri Ram, Sita, Lakshman and Hanuman. So as they are returning to their residence, while you are having all the celebrations, don't let it remain external, because we need to make our hearts suitable as a residence for the return of Lord Ram. And by devotional service, then we will qualify ourselves to return to Lord Ram. So we'll talk about Lord Ram's position in class today and try to link it in this most auspicious month of Kartik Mas, Damodar Mas. So we'll read from Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam class has been going on daily, and the Leela of King Prithu is being discussed in the general daily class. Vidhura, the great devotee, is questioning Markandeya Rishi, and Markandeya Rishi is describing the glories and activities and the pastimes of Prithu Maharaj, by which we learn great lessons about leadership and qualities and character. So, King Prithu is coming in the Chandra Vamsa, in the lunar dynasty. And Ramachandra is coming in the solar dynasty, Surya Vamsa. Lord Ramachandra appears much later in the chronology of things. King Prithu is a king in Satyug, and Lord Ramachandra also appears towards the end of Satyuga. So this is millions of years ago. Satyuga is about 1.7 million years ago. So the history of Lord Ram is a fascinating, intriguing and very uplifting history, and it's not mythology. Narayanam namaskritam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswati vyasa tato jaye udiraye nasta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavate naistake Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. You can repeat, you're gonna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So that invocation is offering respects to Krishna, known as Vasudev. It is the first line in Srimad Bhagavatam. So we are going to be reading from 9th canto. And the text, it's actually chapter 10. And I'll read one or two verses just to get the context of the appearance of Lord Ram. The chapter is called The Pastimes of Lord Ramachandra. We'll probably read about 3 verses. I'll read one Sanskrit verse and the translations of the others. Text 1 from chapter 10. Shri Sukha Uvacha. Well, we don't have the printouts for this, as this is a special class, so I'll just do the Sanskrit. Shri Sukha Uvacha Kadvangad Dirga Bahuscha Raghustasmat Prithu Shravaha Ajastato Maharajas Tasmad Dasarato Bhavat. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Sukadev Goswami said, the son of Maharaj Kadvanga was Dirga Bahu, and his son was the celebrated Maharaj Raghu. From Maharaj Raghu came Aja, and from Aja was born the great personality Maharaj Dasarath. Text 2. Being prayed for by the demigods the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth Himself, directly appeared with His expansions and expansions of the expansion. Their holy names were Ram, Lakshman, Bharat and Shatrughna. These celebrated incarnations thus appeared in 4 forms as a son of Maharaj Dasarath. Text 3, Sukadev is addressing Parikshit Maharaj. O King Parikshit, the transcendental activities of Lord Ramachandra have been described by great saintly persons who have seen the truth. Because you have heard again and again about Lord Ramachandra, the husband of Mother Sita, I shall describe these activities only in brief. Please listen. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpadarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangam langayate girim Yat kripa tamaham vande Shri Guru dinatarinam. So the Mangal Acharan prayers, which are in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, are very important to invoke the auspiciousness of the previous acharyas, and by their blessings perhaps we can become empowered. If we have enough faith, then we do become empowered according to our level of realization. So we pray, please bless us. So the text 2, being prayed for by the demigods, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth Himself, directly appeared with His expansions and expansions of the expansion. Their holy names were Ram, Lakshman, Bharat and Shatrughna. These celebrated incarnations thus appeared in 4 forms as the sons of Maharaj Dasarath. The purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Lord Ramachandra and his brothers, Lakshman, Bharat and Shatrughna, are all Vishnu Tattva, not Jiva Tattva. The Supreme Personality of Godhead expands into many, many forms. Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadir, Ananta Rupam. Although they are one and the same, Vishnu Tattva has many forms and incarnations, as confirmed in the Brahma Samhita. Ramadhi Murtishu Kala Niyamayena Tishtan. The Lord is situated in many forms such as Ram, Lakshman, Bharat and Shatrughna, and these forms may exist in any part of His creation. All these forms exist permanently, eternally as individual personalities of Godhead, and they resemble many candles, all equally powerful. Lord Ramachandra, Lakshman, Bharat and Shatrughna, who being Vishnu Tattva are all equally powerful, became the sons of Maharaj Dasarath in response to the prayers by the demigods. So, when we discuss Srimad Bhagavatam or the pastimes of the Lord, there are two aspects to understand. There is Tattva and there is Leela. So Tattva is the philosophical discussion of the principles of spiritual life and the position of the Supreme Lord and His devotees and His expansions. When we accept the supreme position of the Lord through the establishment of the Tattva, then we can appreciate the Leela. Because now we know by this discussion who the Supreme Lord is and why He is the Supreme Lord. And therefore when He's performing His Leela, then these apparently incredulous things are possible for the Supreme Lord. Everything is possible for the Supreme Lord. Krishna lifts a mountain. That looks like a fairy tale to some people. How is that possible? Because Krishna is the Supreme Lord, He can do it. So some bright spark asked, if Krishna is the Supreme Lord and can lift a mountain, can He create a mountain that's so heavy that He can't lift it? So yes, He can, but then He'll lift it. This is the inconceivable potency of the Supreme Lord. And this is His supremacy. So we have to accept this idea. When we know Krishna is the Supreme Lord, then we can discuss all of His different expansions. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, in the beginning, I think it's 1:3:28 or 25. Ete chamsa kala pumsa Krishna astu bhagavan swayam indrari vyakulam lokam mriddayanti yuga yuga. That previously all the incarnations were being discussed prior to that verse. So then it says all of the above incarnations are expansions of the Lord. They are portions, and they are plenary portions, and they are portions of the Lord. And they appear, Indrari Vyakulam Lokam, they appear Mridayanti Yoga, millennium after millennium in different parts of the universe, Lokam, to fulfill particular purposes. So this is called the Paribhas Sutra. Paribhas Sutra means that verse which establishes the key idea, the theme, upon which all the other verses that follow will discuss in relation to that. The conclusion is already discussed. So this, you could say, is the key verse for Bhagavatam. Already Krishna is established. In fact, the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam established Krishna's supremacy. Satyam param dhimahi. I worship Krishna, the Supreme Lord, who's the absolute truth. So we understand Krishna to be the Supreme Lord, and according to his purpose, according to the purposes in the different yugas, Krishna appears. So in the Satyug, Lord Ramachandra appeared, an expansion of Krishna, and he appeared for the specific purpose of establishing dharma through the principles of morality. Krishna is Leela Purushottam. He is performs and enjoys. And Lord Ram is Maryada Purusha. Shri Shri Radha Radhanath ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Damodhar ki jai, Shri Sita Ram Lakshman Bhakta Hanuman ki jai, Shri Shri Nitai Gaura Hari ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, Maryada Purushottam, establishing the principles of Maryada, the morality, the formality. So, Lord Ram, it's described here in this verse and in this purport, Lord Ram appeared as the son of Dasarath. King Dasarath was actually, I think this is a little cold. King Dasarath was actually a great devotee of the Lord, and he had helped the demigods in their war against the demons. He was so powerful, he could fight with 10 chariots at once. Therefore, his name was Dasarath. Rath is chariots, Das is 10. Dasarath, 10 chariots. He was very powerful. And with the grace of the demigods, he had access to being able to travel and kill these demons. But his anxiety was that although he had 3 queens, Kaushalya, Kaikeyi and Sumitra, they were barren and therefore he had no heir to the throne. And for a king, that's a very, very tragic and anxiety-provoking situation because they need their lineage to continue. So he was praying and arranging all sorts of things to have an heir. In the meanwhile, prior to this, in the heavenly planets, or in the Vaikuntha planets, so we have to understand heaven planets are still within the material realm. It's the upper planetary systems. When people chant Gayatri, Om Bhur Bhwa Swaha, Bhuloka, Bhurloka, Swarga Loka, upper planetary systems. And you have above that the Viraja river separating. And then you got Sadashiva Loka, which is half in the material nature and half in the Vaikuntha planets. Devi Dham, Mahesh Dham, Hari Dham, Vaikuntha, Braja Dham, right at the top, Goloka Vrindavan. So this is the structure. So in the Vaikuntha planets, the Chatur Vyuha, the expansion of Krishna as Vasudev, Pradumna, Anirudh, and I forget. So the 4. Oh, Shankarshan, yeah. Vasudev, Shankarshan, Pradumna, and Aniruddha. So we have to remember Shankarshan is expansion, direct expansion of Krishna as Balaram expands. Yeah. So Vasudev, Shankarshan, Anirudh, Pradumna and Anirudh. So these 4 expansions exist independently in Vaikuntha, and when the need arises for Lord Ram to incarnate, then these 4 expansions, they come as Ram, Vasudeva as Ram, Shankarshan as Lakshman, Pradumna, Shatraghun. And then we have Bharat and Shatraghun, Pradumna and Anirudh. They come in these 4 expansions. So this is what's being described in this purport. They're all Vishnu Tattva, they're not Jiva Tattva. Jiva means you and I, the spirit soul. But every now and then you get an empowered Jiva, like King Prithu, who we've been discussing, also an ideal ruler on this planet, placed there by the demigods. But he is Jiva Tattva and is empowered. So he becomes Shaktya Avesh. avatar. But here this is Vishnu Tattva, they are directly the Lords themselves. So they appear, and how do they appear? Because of the prayers of the demigods. It says here, they become the sons of Maharaj Dasrath in response to the prayers of the demigods. Why did Lord Ram have to come? Because the demons were terrorizing the universe under the control of Ravana. And Ravan and Kumbhakarna, these two great demons. When we talk about demons, the ones we have now, the ones causing problems in the world, these different leaders and so on, they're minuscule. These are demons of cosmic scale. You think we got it bad. So they were terrorizing, they were killing the demigods, they were defiling the arenas, sacrificial arena of the sages, they were killing the sages, kidnapping women, molesting, a whole lot of things were going on because they were so powerful. So how did Ravan and Kumbhakarna come then? Why did they come? So we go back again. There's a whole lot of different leelas or pastimes that are intertwined in the background to produce this wonderful drama of Lord Ram. As my spiritual master was discussing at some stage, because he was much into producing movies and drama and minister of culture and all of that. So you say a drama needs a very important aspect, and that is there has to be conflict. And the more the conflict, the greater the conflict, the greater the attentiveness of the people. So Lord Ram comes and enacts this drama with these great demons for the purposes of attracting the mind back to the living, to the Supreme Lord. And in a short while I will read one extract that Lord Ram says himself from Ramayana, which is such a beautiful extract, or just a verse. So he enacts this drama. So in the drama you must have the hero and the villain, and in between the heroine. So the greatest hero, greatest villain. So in Vaikuntha planets, these great sages known as the Kumaras, babies, they're old, very old, but because of the austerity they look like young babies. And they were, also completely naked, 5-year-olds running around. In this country we don't really see that. But if you go through the townships and so on, you'll see little kids, little boys running around little naked. In India that's common. Nobody really thinks about it. Little babies running around there, naked. So these boys were also like that, naked. But they were not boys, they were older sages, great sages. And they were traversing, they had the power to traverse through the universe. So they came to Vaikuntha Loka because they want to see Vishnu. Came up to the gates, and at the gates of Vaikuntha were two great gatesmen, Jai and Vijay. And Jai and Vijay's duty was to stop anyone without an appointment. So they saw these four sages, didn't know they were sages, saw 4 young boys, what are you doing here? Stop! You cannot enter. So these sages became annoyed because they're free, they're liberated souls. One may think, oh, liberated souls, how can they get angry? But remember, sages have a purpose of rectifying the mentality, incorrect mentality. So they were saying, stopping us, freedom, in this Vaikuntha, you see enemy and friend? How is that possible in Vaikuntha? It's not possible. There's no such duality here. You have this dual mentality. Curse you, to fall down from your position. The lessons to learn from that is about being cautious about offenses. Right? So little, it seems like a little thing, but it causes an offense. And that can happen in the devotional context also. We have many wonderful devotees amongst us. We don't know who they are. And, you can say something out of turn, get offended. When you go to Mayapur and Vrindavan, you see the throngs of people. And I had a particular meditation that I'm just watching these people come through. And who knows which demigods have descended to walk amongst the people, to enjoy and absorb the Leela of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or in Vrindavan, to see what's happening. And even they come to associate and hear Krishna Katha and so on. Who knows who's walking through there? So we have to be so careful in our relationships. We may seem to be, right, just some ordinary devotees, join the temple or in the congregation and this and that. But we never know, because a devotee begins his spiritual or her spiritual life from where they left off in their last life. And for a little while, it may be covered. For a little while it may be covered, you don't see, they seem to be conditioned. But at a particular point in time, when they have the right catalyst, that devotional service and their position will be revealed from their last life. So we see here, Jai and Vijay were cursed, but then the Lord appeared at the door and He accepted the responsibility for his two gatekeepers. Said, these are that's a very culture. The father and mother, they take responsibility for their children's misdemeanor. They give the apology if something the children do wrong, because they feel responsible. So the Lord felt responsible, said, I apologize to you, but the curse has been pronounced. So the Lord decided that He will moderate it. And the background to this, Ramayan, you can speak for hours, and people do. I'm not a Ramayan Fundi, a specialist. There are in the community Ramanandis, they recite Ramayan, etc. But here, now, so the Lord moderates the curse, and He says to Jai and Vijay, who previously is described, they understood the Lord's desire for combat, and there has to be a suitable person to combat with the Lord, because the Lord is a person and He has a desire. He desires to please His devotees, He desires to eat nice food stuff, He desires to dance, He desires to combat. Therefore all of us have that little bit of quality in us also, the sense of the pleasure potency in different things. Therefore in this world we get wrestlers and fighters and so on, because it's a spark of the Lord's quality that they have in them. But it's just misdirected. So similarly the Lord desires to combat, and Jai and Vijay realized, let's give the Lord, serve Him in this way. So the Lord said, all right, so I can only moderate this. I'm sorry, it's been... So you have the option of 7 births as devotees in this world, my devotees, and 3 births as demons. Which would you take? So the understanding of the Lord's desire said, 3 births as demons. And therefore Jai and Vijay become Ravan and Kumbhakarna. They fall down. So what happened prior to this? So all of this is, in this Bhagavatam, Parikshit Maharaj is giving a synopsis of Ramayan. At least Sukadev is giving a synopsis of Ramayan to Parikshit Maharaj. Because Ramayan had already been spoken by the great sage Valmiki. And here we see, it says in this verse, Sukadev says, because you've heard again and again about Lord Ramachandra, the husband of Mother Sita, I shall describe his activities only in brief. So you have heard, yes, Parikshit, you have heard. So because you asked me the question about the incarnations of the Lord, I shall discuss about Lord Ram in brief. So this is what this is what Sukadev Goswami is doing here. But the original speaker of Ramayana is Valmiki. There is some Hindi version, Tulsi Krit Ramayana, but of course that's then local. Only people who speak Hindi can understand that. But the original is Valmiki Ramayana. Lord Brahma speaks Ramayana. It said it consists of 1 billion verses. But Valmiki was given the synopsis of 24,000 verses. And is divided into different kandas, sections. So, Balkand, Ayodhya Kand, Aranya Kand, Kishkinda Kand, Sundar Kand, Yudha Kand, and Uttarakhand. If you want to remember that, you can. I have a little mnemonic. Baksyu. Baaksyu. Baksyu. Balakand, Ayodhya Kand, Aranya Kand, like that. So just try to remember it like that. These are the different sections in there. So Balkand is the baby pastime of Lord Ram. Kishkinda Kand is where Lord is with Sugriva in Kishkinda. And Sundarakand is Hanumanji. Yudhkand is the war, and Uttarakhand is the return of Lord Ram. So all of this is in this beautiful book. So there we see Valmiki, it's being described that the great sage Pulatsya Muni had a son, Ilavida, a Vishrava, whose wife was Ilavida. And they were the parents of Kuvera, the demigod Kuvera, the demigod of wealth in this. Each demigod has a particular duty. So, when a demon by the name of Sumali, seeing that this family has such great status and power and wealth, he wanted to develop an alliance with them. So he wanted his daughter, who's a demoness, Kaikeshi, to be married to Vishrava. Demigods, Kshatriyas, they take many wives. So he actually arranged for a chance encounter between his daughter Kaikeshi and Vishrava. And she seduced him and became his wife, second wife. So after he had impregnated her, then Vishrava realized the ruse and how he was captured. So he told Kaikeshi, "You deceive me, therefore all your sons will be demons." Jai and Vijay fell down into the womb of Kaikeshi, became Ravan and Kumbhakarna. So, Jai and Vijay, and there's a question, you can ponder that. How is it that Vibhishan, who was also a son of Kaikeshi, was a devotee? We'll leave you that for homework, but we'll talk about it at some stage. So Ravan and Kumbhakarna, Kaikeshi then began to sow the seeds of envy in the hearts of Ravan and Kumbhakarna against Kuvera. Because he was the favored one, he was the demigod, he had all the opulence. So then she encouraged them to perform austerities, and Ravan and Kumbhakarna performed austerities to gain power. And everybody performs austerities to please Lord Brahma. They think Lord Brahma is immortal because he's got such a long life. So as they performed the austerities and Lord Brahma appeared, said, "What do you want?" Ravan said, "I want immortality." That's what these demons always want, immortality, eternality. Even Kumbhakarna wanted the same thing. And Lord Brahma said, "I can't give you immortality. I myself am not immortal. I live for long, but no." So then Ravan used his perverted intelligence to try and trick Brahma and asked him for everything that will allow him to. I don't want to be killed by the demigods or other demons. And he named all these different heavenly denizens, the Vidyadharas, the Kinnaras, the Gandharvas, etc. But he was so arrogant that he didn't ask for protection against man and animal. He thought they were insignificant. I can defeat all these demigods, I can defeat them too. So, Kumbhakarna, that gigantic, that giant, he was so specific. He wanted eternal life, so he asked, grant me nityatvam, eternal life. And I want the asan, the position of Lord of Indra. Indrasan. Asan, Indra, asan, Indrasan. I want that position. So Saraswati, the consort of Brahma, realized that these boons are granted, the whole world will be in a catastrophic position. So she, being the goddess of learning, she bewildered Kumbhakarna. So when he asked for the boon, his tongue was so, he fumbled and he said, Nidratvam, Nidrasan. Nidra means sleep. Instead of asking for eternality, he asked for sleep. So, Jai Shri Shri Radha Radhanath ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So he asked for sleep, and in the sleep, because of that, he got furious now. He got so furious, he said, all my austerities are performed, you're cheating me. Lord Brahma, you're cheating me because I performed these austerities. I'm due for whatever is due to me should be given to me. So Lord Brahma then modified the curse and said, okay, you sleep for 6 months and you stay awake for 6 months. Therefore Kumbhakarna sleeps for 6 months and Ravan has to rouse him. This is fascinating little details in there. So also we have to be careful what we ask the Lord for. We have to be careful of how we ask. We cannot be arrogant because they were asking for things for their own selfish desire and purpose. They were not asking these things for the service of the Lord. Devotee of the Lord is asking in service of the Lord. So, this is how the demons enter into this world, and then Ravan defeats Kuvera and the other demigods and steal Kuvera's Vimana, which is a Manasa Vimana. Vimana is a machine, spaceship. Pushpa Vimana, made of flowers, decorated flowers. He steals that, and then he travels around simply by the will of the mind that Vimana moves. So he was able to use that. And that's why he goes all over the universe persecuting everybody. And we see that, and I got about maybe 7 minutes, I think. So we see that he goes out everywhere persecuting. This demon is persecuting all of the great sages and the demigods, and he likes combat, so he's defeating the warriors to establish his supremacy, thinking he is now the Supreme Lord. And in his travels he comes across a forest, and Ravan is the epitome of lust and envy and arrogance. So from his Vimana he spies down, and he's got all these thousands of demons following him everywhere. So he spies in the forest a sage and looks carefully, and he sees it's a radiant, beautiful woman performing austerities. So he leaves his demons there. He comes down with his Vimana and he disembarks, comes up to her. And there's a sage sitting in meditation, beautiful woman. She's got a deer cloth. She's got like a chadar made of deer skin across here. Her hair's in the top knot. She's meditating. And Ravan says, "Oh, beautiful woman, what are you doing alone in this forest, performing such austerities? Does not warrant you. You're so beautiful, you should not be doing this. Who are you?" So she says, "I am Vedavati." And she knows through her mystic power who this person is, such a demon. She says to him, she immediately says, to ward him off, she says, I am performing austerities because I have dedicated my life to Lord Vishnu, and these austerities are for me, are asking him to accept me as his wife. Right? She gave him the message. But Ravan said, who is this? Vishnu. He had already known of Vishnu. He was waiting to fight with Vishnu. He heard about it, so he was envious. This Vishnu is nothing. Do not waste your time on his austerities. Come with me, I shall satisfy all your desires. And being as aggressive as he was, he grabbed her hair. I think that's where the caveman approach started. Grabbed her hair. And she was upset by this because her body had become defiled by the touch of a contaminated person. So she used her mystic power simply with her hand, cut through her hair that she was holding. And Ravana was holding it with such force that he fell back. And he was surprised at this. And he said, you despicable person, you have contaminated me by your touch. And therefore this body is not worthy anymore of being accepted by Lord Krishna. I shall disappear, and I curse you that in the future I shall return and I will be the cause of your destruction. Self-immolated. Fire disappeared. That personality appears as Sita, the daughter of King Janaki in the future. Sita means furrow. He found her in a furrow. So she appears. So this Ravan, he said, it doesn't matter. There's so many women who willingly want to come to me. Why should I bother? So he's in this mood, right, lusty. And then he goes on and eventually comes to the heavenly planets also. And there he sees a very beautiful woman in the forest. Her name was Ramba. She was actually the wife of Nala Kuvara, the son of Kuvera. And being the niece actually of Ravan, because he was the half brother. So he sees her beauty and he comes down, he alights, and he takes her by force, he molests her. She protests but just couldn't do anything, and he rapes her. And she runs to tell her husband. But Nala Kuvara, knowing that he already defeated his father, he could do nothing. But he had austerity, so he uttered a curse. He says, Ravan, when you try to force yourself upon any woman again, your head will shatter into 1,000 pieces. So Ravan, he knew the power of these curses, so he checked himself. And therefore, thereafter, he never molested any women forcefully, but he would try to convince them to become part of his harem in all of his lusty ways. Therefore, he could not touch Sita or force her, because she was protected by this curse. And there are other reasons why he could not touch Sita, Maya, Sita, so many things are there. So, we want to conclude. I mean, I barely started. I could say 10% of whatever is there. So there's Valmiki story, Vedavati story, Jai and Vijay story, Dasarath. So this is how Lord Ram then comes, due to the prayers of the demigods. He appears as a man, Nara Leela, because the boons did not cover protection from man. Ravan didn't ask for that, so Lord Ram is the supreme intelligence. He appeared as a man because there's no protection. He could enact his pastime and kill Ravan in that position. And the animals, all the demigods appeared as these powerful soldiers in the form of animals. They're not monkeys as we generally call them. They belong to a race called the Vanaras. This is the Vanara race. And they existed at that time. Hanuman was the chief amongst them, who was the benedicted that his powers will be revealed when he encounters Ram in service. Dasya ras. So this pastime of Lord Ram returning, after Lord Ram kills the demons Ravana, rescues Sita, he returns to Ayodhya. And this is the pastime that is celebrated for Diwali. All the devotees, they festoon the city, light it up. Lord Ram is appearing. Why? Because this is the dark moon, Amavas, started yesterday at midday and will finish around after 2:46. So the period of Diwali is sitting astride these 2 days. Sometimes people say, why 2 days Diwali? Why can't we have 1 day? There's this whole controversy around that. Understand the lunar Tithi is sitting across the 2 days. So Diwali is over 2 days. I mean, why just 2 days? Celebrate Ram every day. Diwali can be every day. Light up your lamps to receive Lord Ram every day. Clean your heart so that you'll sit there in that heart, receive him there. So on this Diwali day, Damodar pastime took place, where Mother Yashoda's servants had all gone. Even the men were gone visiting. Nanda Maharaj went to visit his brothers, Sanandana and so on. She was alone with Krishna. And we know the pastime that she, due to his naughtiness, she eventually binds Krishna up. So to link these two, Lord Ram teaches us the highest morality by his own example, that we should accept and practice this morality. Why? Because in this Damodar Leela, we see that Mother Yashoda can only bind Krishna by the ropes of love, pure love. As another word for rope, the word is guna. But there's also another meaning of guna. The modes of material nature, ignorance, passion, and goodness. But there's also one more meaning of guna. Qualities. So, we have to develop the spiritual qualities so that we can escape the gunas of ignorance, passion, and goodness. Then only can we bind the Lord with the guna of love. Right? Otherwise it's not possible. Even just to have a majestic awe and reverence of the Lord, we will not enter into these sweet pastimes of Brajadham. So this is the little presentation for Diwali, and they call it a special class for Diwali. So we have one more reason, all those of you celebrating Diwali, you have one more reason to celebrate Diwali, and that is the Damodar Leela happened on Diwali. Exactly which part of the day, it was like the morning part generally, but yeah. So Krishna is a toddler, and here he's offering he's giving delight. Itidrik swalila bir ananda kunde swagosham nimajantam akyapayantam. Krishna is drowning the inhabitants of Braja in pools of ecstasy. And that is where we want to be. We want to be drowned in that. So if you're Ram Bhakta, that's fine. You're also drowned in the Leela of Ram. And it's the same personality, Krishna. And we as followers of Gaudiya Vaishnav Sampradaya, our meditation is on Braj Bhakti, Braj Dham. So this is also described in various books. We should hear Nam Shravan, nectar of devotion, Nam Shravan, hearing the holy name. Tasmad ekena manasa bhagavan sattvatam pati shrotavya kirtitavyascha dhyaya pujascha nityadha. Tasmad ekena, with one pointed focus, eka, mind, manasa. We should focus on Bhagavatam, Bhagavan Sattvatam Patihi, the protector of the devotees. How? Shrotavya Kirtitavyasya, Shravanam Kirtanam, hearing and chanting. Dhyaya Pujascha Nityada, remembering. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevadam, Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakyam Atma Nivedanam. And this is the process of devotional service that the Vaishnavas in our line engage with. Jai Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Bhakta Hanuman Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Dhamodhar Ki. Shri Shri Radha Radhanath Ki. I want to make one last point. This is so important. I forget. Without Srila Prabhupada, we would not have access to any of this. In Bhagavatam, it says, Nigama kalpadaro galitam sukha mukad amrita dravya samyutam. From the mouth, oh expert and thoughtful men, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the Vedic literatures, which has emanated from the mouth of Sukadev. But with due respect to Bhagavatam and the great sages, I want to replace, not Sukha Mukad, Prabhupada Mukad Amrita Dravya Samyutam. From the mouth of Srila Prabhupada has emanated this nectar. Jai Ho. Hare Krishna. Have a happy Diwali. Thank you so much. We are not fasting for Diwali. It's feasting. Thank you so much. Oh, and every day of Kartik, I try to just remember some devotee and offer some respects and obeisances. So I want to say, for those of you at home, the devotees here in the temple, like Madhurya Kadambini, Brajaseviki, Radhika Jivan Prabhu, they're like the pillar, they're holding this temple program together in the morning and arranging everything so nicely. Thank you so much for being there and doing that for all the devotees who are out in the congregation who rely on this. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai.